Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Don't Rest Until You Invest. My name is Eric Spaulding, and if you're here, I know that you're a go getter. So let's get into why you're here today. Today, we'll be talking about three things you need to consider when beginning to invest. All right, everyone, let's just get right into it. Number one, you need to consider is you need to decide whether or not you're going to go it alone or whether or not you're going to have someone manage it for you. Either way is fine. But if you're going to go it alone, you need to answer a few different questions. For example, are you going to invest in stocks or fixed income? Are you going to use index funds or are you going to go into individual stocks? Are you going to approach it from a value investing standpoint or a growth investing standpoint? Are you going to use fundamental or technical analysis? Or maybe if you're doing fixed income, are you going to use government bonds or municipal bonds? You don't have to be an expert, but you do have to have some basic knowledge. Most of the time, the easiest thing for most beginning investors to do is usually just to get a low cost, diversified index fund and consistently add to that over time. If you're going to have someone manage the money for you, that's completely fine too. Now, you don't necessarily need to be an expert when you're having someone else to manage the money for you, but you dang sure need to know what you're being charged. Now, what I mean by that is you need to know what fees are going to be entailed in, you having this money managed for you. For example, how much fees are they charging you to give you advice or to manage this portfolio for you? Or also, how much fees are they charging on the expense ratio of the index funds that you're investing in? Now, what I mean by this is a lot of times when you go to a brokerage firm, they're going to take your money, and most brokerage firms have switched over to a robo-advisor, which they are calling fintech, which is just a fancy word for financial technology. Now, this financial technology it's been doing well, but the thing is that a lot of this financial technology and these robo-advisors invest your money into index funds. Index funds have expense ratios. The reason why this is important to you is because you have to take into consideration, one, you're being charged for them to manage your money and give you advice, and two, you're also getting charged the expense ratio. Now, this can definitely be a little bit more expensive when it comes to mutual funds. So make sure that you know what you're getting charged. So then that way you aren't getting screwed over. One of my favorite low-cost brokerages that I've used before is Charles Schwab. And I just want to let you know that in no way am I being compensated for this little plug here. I'm just mentioning them because I have actually invested in them myself and they manage the money for me. Now, the good thing about them is that the robo-advisor that they offer, if you don't choose to take any advice for them, they actually don't charge you for investing at all. Obviously, the only thing you're going to pay for is the underlying expense ratio of the index funds. But if you do choose to take some type of financial advice from them, and they set up this plan for you and you guys constantly consult on an annual or semi-annual basis, there will be a monthly charge. The last time I checked, it was $30, but that could have changed since the last time I invested with them. Number two thing that you need to consider when starting to invest is, are you ready to start investing? The one thing you need to take into account is you need to really take into account where you are financially. Are you in debt? That's pretty much what I'm getting to. Now, the reason why I say are you in debt is because it really doesn't make that much sense to start investing. And I'm not saying that you can't start investing with debt at all, but it really doesn't make sense to start investing if the amount of money that you're paying in interest to your debts overshadow the amount of money that you're actually receiving in either interest, dividends, or appreciation from your stocks or bonds. It just really doesn't make sense. So the third thing that you need to consider is are you the type of person that sticks to something? Now, investing is a long-term game, and even when you do retire, you're still going to have investments, and you're still going to be investing. The reason this is because the cardinal rule of investing is, number one, you always have money working for you. And number two, you never touch the principal. Some of you might be thinking, how the heck do I retire without touching my money? Well, I can tell you how this happens. The way you do that is you only take out a 5%, let's say a 5% of your investments annually, even though you may have earned 10% that year. Now, the reason why you do this is because by only taking out 5% when you earn 10%, you allow some of your money to continue to grow and build more money for you. So really what this means is that as soon as 5% of your investments match or equal what your expenses are, plus a little bit for luxuries, you can retire. If you like today's video, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. That way you'll be notified anytime I release any new content. Lastly, I'll be in the comments below just to answer any questions that any of you may have. And remember, don't rest until you invest.